Money. Ren on the Money is my live stream show where I talk about finance as a teenage investor. My name is Ren. I'm 15 years old. By day, I'm an athlete. By night, I am a investor who invests in all things money and likes to share my investing tips and tricks that I've learned through a long time of investing. So yeah, in today's episode, we are going to be talking about collectibles being an asset, how they contain value, and how you can make money with them. So let's just get straight into the video. If you hear some stuff upstairs, that's because my family's just living life upstairs. So we'll see what happens. So first of all, I want to kind of just talk about how I got into collectibles. And the story is interesting. So I started collecting Pokemon cards. My prime of collecting was like 2016, 2017. After every single event, when I would get home from like a fencing event, because that's the sport I used to do, my dad and my brother, we would go to this card shop and we would get one pack of Pokemon cards at a time. And I would open these cards up and we would basically just open a bunch of packs in the car, which is kind of fun. And so I got into collecting Pokemon cards very, very young. And yeah, my first card, I believe, was in 2016. It was like a Gallade EX or GX. We're going to be showing off a lot of cards during this video because that's the main subject of this stream. Um, I used to play the game competitively back in 2018 and 19, and I stopped playing Pokemon cards competitively because it got really expensive and I didn't have the money back then to continue to play. So a few days ago, I was going through my old decks and I ended up finding this Charizard card right here. And it doesn't look like much, but this card is actually from 2013 and it is worth about $150. It's from Black and White era. Sorry about the glare. It's going to be hard to fix that when they're in these one-touch protectors. But I had this Charizard. It was in one of my decks. So I look at the value and it's worth over $100. And I was like, wow, these Pokemon cards may actually have some value for resale or for me to make some money. And so that's exactly what I did. I looked through my decks for cards that had value, and I found a lot of cards. These were all from my playing days of Pokemon. I have lots of different cards right here. These are just cards I took out because they're worth over $20, right? And these are all from 2018 through 2015 because that was my prime of collecting Pokemon cards. So yeah, that's kind of how I got a start in Pokemon. I got a V star. That's amazing. Oh, we got 18 people here. So I'm basically talking about all things collectibles and how you can make money with them, and basically telling my story about investing as a 15-year-old in collectibles. So in 2018, I won a Pokemon tournament, and I opened a pack of cards, and I got this Raichu card right here. And this really started me collecting. So I was just buying lots of cards from 2015 through, as I said, about 2018. That's when I stopped. And so now I'm in the process of selling these. So now with that being said, I have to tell you guys why cards actually hold value. What's so cool about these little pieces of paper known as cards? Well, we have to start off with a life principle and a normal lesson that all investors should know about. It is called supply and demand. To explain supply and demand simply, supply and demand is when goods and services and just things in general go up and down in price depending on how much supply or demand that specific item has. So let's take an example of donuts. I have 10 people in my family, and to explain supply and demand, there is one donut, and there are 10 people in my family. If there is one donut and 10 people in my family, only one out of those 10 people get that donut. Let's just say I have the donut. I have a donut and 9 other people want it. So my family members are willing to pay me $1 for it. But my cousin comes along who also wants the same donut and he's willing to pay me $3. I accept the offer for $3 because there is only one donut in my house, and that's basically the premise of supply and demand. The more donuts there are, the donuts will be cheaper because it's easier to acquire or obtain. So let's say there's 5 donuts and they each cost $1. Well, there's still 5 people who don't have the donut. So the demand is 5 and the supply is, no, the demand is 10 because 10 people want it and the supply is 5. That means that there are still 5 people who want it. So 5 people will be willing to pay me $2 for a donut. And once they get a donut, there are still 5 people who don't have that said donut. So basically, how supply and demand affects things is when there is too much supply, prices of things or cards will be cheaper because there's so many cards, and hopefully I'm explaining this well. Hopefully I'm explaining this well. So yeah, hopefully that made sense. Did that make sense? That analogy with donuts. So if you have one donut in existence, and there are literally 10 people who want it, 9 people don't have the donut. So those 9 people are willing to pay more than I got the donut for. I got the donut for $1, but those 9 people who don't have the donut are willing to pay me $5 or even $10 because there's only one donut. If there were 5 donuts, people would pay me a little bit less because there's more supply. So if there's 5 donuts and 10 people want the donuts, people are willing to pay $2 for the donut. That is kind of how supply and demand work. And that pushes everything in the market of, are you selling EBT? No, I'm not selling anything. That's crazy. We got 18 people here. So that's how supply and demand works. And that works with everything economically. That works with silver and gold. That works with stocks. That works with everything. And that is just a basic principle that I wanted to explain. What's up, Joseph Lopez? What's up to everyone in the chat? Dino Tuna, uh, Inspector, a bunch of people are in here. Okay, so now we're going to actually talk about collectibles in general. I'm a collector from the heart. I don't like doing the money thing. I don't like being on the money side of collectibles. I like to just collect because I have a passion to buy unique and rare items that other people don't have. But because these cards are worth so much money, I kind of had to get into this side because I want to make this money. I want to turn these cards into something else. So we're going to explain it a little bit. See, you supply with cash, and I'll supply you with discontinued credits. That's crazy. Okay, so let's start off with numbered cards. And I don't believe I have one down here. So there are some cards that have numbers on them, which makes them rare. So this Shohei Ohtani is actually numbered out of 100, meaning, do I know about Jesus Christ? Yes, I do. I do know about Jesus Christ. But that's not what we're talking about on the stream. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whosoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. I love that scripture. He loves you, brother. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That actually means a lot to me. God loves all of you. Jesus loves all of you guys who are watching. I really do appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. So there are 100 of this Shohei Ohtani card in the whole entire world. Meaning that if a million people want this card, there are only 100 of this card in the world. So the price of this card is pretty expensive because it is numbered. Numbered cards make your card unique. It adds a layer of value. If you have a regular card that has a million printed, it's not as rare as a numbered card. Numbered cards come from packs, and numbered cards usually have a very high premium. They cost a lot of money, just because there is a specific amount of them in the world. So this card actually goes for about $50. It's not the highest value Shohei Ohtani card, but it goes for $50. Why do I consider collectibles as assets? Because I can make money with them. Anything that can make me more money, I consider as an asset. These cards, they're an asset. I can make more money with them. So next we're going to talk about graded cards. This is very important in the sports cards, in Pokemon cards, in all cards in general. Cards are graded on a scale of 1 to 10. This is a PSA 10. So 10 being the best, 1 being the worst. It does cost money to grade your cards. It actually costs $25 to get an official grade. But there is this company known as PSA, and basically what they do is they look at the surfaces of your card, they look at the shine quality, they look at the centering of the card, they look at everything very, very well, and they give it a grade 1 through 10. If the card is a 10, it skyrockets in value because not every card that is printed in the world is perfect. It is really hard for cards to be perfect because cards are getting mass printed. Like, so many cards are being printed that having a perfect card is very difficult. This is a PSA 9, so it is not a perfect card. Just sending the cards to grading adds $25 of value to your card. This is very basic and standard for collecting as a whole. Knowing that you have something real is very important because since these assets are so rare sometimes people fake them. So you have to know if your cards or if your collectibles are real. It's very, very important. So it one adds a layer of security knowing that it's real, and two, it gives it a grade. And collectors typically like the tens the most because that means it's perfect. So this is a perfect 10 Sauce Gardner football card. And I will talk about some different types of collectibles in the stream. But this being a PSA 10 made it go from a $5 card to a $50 card just because it has a 10 on it. I know for a fact that card is real. So that is graded cards explained. We're going to go down this little list of things that add value to your collection or to your assets or to your cards. The next thing I want to talk about, this is specifically for sports cards. This doesn't apply to Pokemon cards because Pokemon doesn't have this in the game, but rookie cards. A rookie card has a little logo in one of the corners that says RC. Rookie cards can only be printed from a player's rookie season. So the first year that Shohei Ohtani played a baseball game was 2018. It might be 2017. But whenever a player plays their first season, every card that is made has a rookie stamp, meaning it's from their first season, which shows that you were in on this player early, that you believed in this player early, that you found this card early, right? So it adds a lot of value to have a rookie card. The most expensive baseball card in the world is a 1952 Mickey Mantle rookie card. That basically means it was the first card of Mickey Mantle's because it was his rookie. It was his rookie year. Nowadays, sports card companies print a lot of rookie cards. So some of them are not even rare. But the rookie stamp does add a huge amount of value to your cards. If you see any sports card with an RC logo, hold on to it. It is very important. If this player does good over time, then this card will grow in value. And I've seen it happen plenty of times with my card collection. It is very important. The next thing I want to say that adds value to your card collection is legacy. When you're collecting sports cards, you're collecting for the player to do well. You're not just collecting for a piece of art. Like in Pokemon cards, who cares? No one really cares if this card is doing well in the game because guess what? The art looks beautiful. With sports cards, you are investing in a human being who is playing a sport and they have to do well in that sport for their cards to maintain value or to hold value. This is very important to know. You don't want to go buy some Joe Smo athlete who doesn't play a long career. If an athlete plays 1 year in the pros or 1 year in the NFL or in the MLB, their cards are going to be dirt cheap. They're not going to be expensive. The reason being is because nobody knew about them. They didn't make an impact on the sport. So legacy is very important. My favorite card in my whole collection is this 1955 Jackie Robinson baseball card. It is graded a 2.5 out of 10, which isn't very bad because this is from 1955. So this is very, very old. And the grade, it tells me that this card is authentic. So I know this card is actually from 1955. And I know this card is real. But Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier in the MLB, which means that all black people, young and old, are now able to play baseball. All the people who are black in the entire world, African American, just different ethnicities of people, are now allowed to play baseball. He will never be forgotten because he did something so big. Tom Brady in football, he won 8 Super Bowl rings. This guy is never going to be forgotten. His cards are always going to go up in price. Michael Jordan, the GOAT, the best basketball player in the world. His cards will always go up because of the legacy he had. So, a big factor of collecting cards or collectibles is rookies and legacy. Those are really important. It matters what the player actually does. And if you have a player who is really, really good, like Mickey Mantle, and you have his rookie card, that adds tremendous, tremendous value. The more of these little things you can add to your collectible, this is how your collectible is going to be valuable. If you have a card that there are only 100 in the world and it's of Jackie Robinson and it's graded a 1, even just a 1, that card is going to be 10 times, maybe 20 times more valuable than just having a Jackie Robinson card. The more of these things you have on your checklist, the better the card will be, okay? The next thing that adds value to a collectible is autographs. Players or actors or people sometimes sign their memorabilia. And getting a signature from the actual person who did that thing, whether that be Jackie Robinson or actors from The Sandlot, that adds immense value. It adds immense value, especially if you can get it authenticated. People always fake autographs because it's a very lucrative hobby to fake people's autograph, especially famous people. So if you know that you have an authentic, real autograph, get it authenticated for one. If it's like a different, does this make sense? Crazy on the current events of this country, president has changed the Canadian Blue Jays a tariff for just playing in the World Series. That is crazy. Wow, that is crazy. So yeah, basically, autographs are going to add value. If you are collecting a Shohei Ohtani baseball card and it is actually signed by the athlete on the card, tremendous value right there. Okay, right there. Another thing that adds value to collectors or what collectors are looking for is uniqueness. How many people actually have the item? How unique is it? I saw an item on eBay the other day, and it was Taylor Swift's high heel from a concert. So she actually wore this high heel in one of her concerts. I don't personally collect Taylor Swift items, but somebody who loves Taylor Swift wanted to buy her shoe that she actually wore in a concert for like $50,000. I'm not even exaggerating. 50 grand to buy someone's shoe. I think that is outrageous, but if you use this to your advantage, if you know what you're looking for and you know what you have, you can make a lot of money in the collectible space. I have been buying collectibles since I was 6, so I have a good amount. One of my favorite ones that is probably my most unique item is this Funko Pop. And it is signed by Wendy Peppercorn and Squints from The Sandlot. So let's go down the checklist. It's not numbered, so there's not a limited number of this package. It is not graded, but it is authenticated. Right here, there is an authentic sticker, meaning this is real. Someone's not faking this, okay? So it is authenticated. That is very important. The legacy, now we're going to talk about rookies. This is not a rookie of anything. It's not a rookie year. But the legacy of this movie, The Sandlot, for all baseball fans, is an amazing movie. If you like baseball or sports, you have probably seen The Sandlot. So this has a lot of history behind it, which means this collectible is pretty valuable. I believe this, I paid $330 for this signed Funko Pop, but I wouldn't sell it for anything less than $500 because it is inscribed and it is signed by Wendy Peppercorn. Wendy Peppercorn does not sign very often. It is very, very rare for her to sign. So just her signing is a humongous bonus, okay? This is signed by Squints, and it says, "Of course I did. I've been planning it for years." This correlates to the actual movie. In the movie, when Wendy Peppercorn kicks Squints out of the pool, they say, "Did you try to kiss her?" And he said, "Of course I did. I've been planning it for years." Since it correlates so well and it checks almost all of these boxes, that is a grail, meaning one of the best items you can have collectively, right? Someone is going to pay big dollars for this just because of the history behind it. It is also autographed. It has a good legacy behind it. This is how you find collectibles that are going to go up in price. If it has legacy, maybe it has an autograph. Maybe it caters to a specific person. Maybe you literally buy a sticker signed by the actors from Pokemon. That can still be crazy valuable because people will buy some pretty ridiculous things. But if you go down this list of rarity, number one, is your product actually rare? How many were actually made? Next, you go and see if it's a rookie or if it actually has history behind it. Then you check if it has an autograph or something from some purpose from the actual person. Because, like, if I got a game worn jersey from a player, that player actually wore that jersey in a game. That adds immense value automatically. What if you have a jersey that player, let's say Shohei Ohtani, wore in a baseball game, and it is also signed by Shohei Ohtani? That's going to be like 5 times value right there. If that jersey is now authenticated and you know it's real, probably adds 30%, like 30 times the value, just because you have all these check boxes. So now, how do you upgrade your collection and how do you make it so you can hold value and find the right things? I do need to touch on one thing is age. Age plays a huge part in value. These Pokemon cards are all from 2016, meaning you cannot buy these anymore in a normal store. You have to go source them from some random person on eBay or a card shop. You can't find them in the store. And because you can't find them anymore, the supply is low. So the cards go up in price. I believe that collectibles are an asset, not only a fun project. I believe that with collectibles, you can not only grow your wealth, but also stay ahead of inflation because some of these collectibles grow more over time than the stock market. Some of these collectibles grow more over time than silver and gold. Collectibles do have a place in the world of finance and economics, whether you like it or not. Whether you just want to collect for fun or you're the business owner who runs a card shop, collectibles will always have some value to some person. One of the most basic principles of finance is something is only worth as much as someone will pay for it. It doesn't matter what it is. I could sell that little diamond rack that's just made out of wood on my wall. I could probably sell it for $100 if I autographed it and made up some story about how it was important. People will buy something just because it's made and just because it has some significance to them. Collectibles are the exact same way. The more significance it has, the better it will be over time, and the better it will go up in value. The one thing that I have noticed though is every 20, 30 years, you have a nostalgia wave where all these people who are buying the older stuff, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I remember this from my childhood. I want to get back into it." Like with these 2016 Pokemon cards, I completely forgot about Pokemon. I'm going to be dead honest. I forgot about Pokemon as a whole. When I saw these cards, though, these memories from me opening packs in my car or playing a tournament with, oh my voice just like died. Or me playing a tournament with my friend. These memories all come back, which means these cards to me as a person have value. Now, how do you tap into the audience where it has value for everybody, right? Well, legacy. Jackie Robinson will never be forgotten. I don't believe this card is ever going to go to $0, period. There's times where this card loses value, and there's times where this card skyrockets. You could buy this same exact card back in 2015 for literally like $200. I paid $350 for it, and it keeps on going up. It just keeps skyrocketing more and more and more. Collectibles are an asset, whether you like it or not. I hope this video like clears things up with you guys so that you know why your collectibles are valuable, what they are, why people would pay so much. If it helped you out, then please subscribe and do all those YouTube things because, I'm a YouTuber. I'm trying to grow my channel. And now is the time to ask me questions about anything financial or anything about collectibles in general, go ahead and shoot some questions, guys. I'm 15 years old. I've been collecting for a while. Please ask me any questions about collecting so I can clear them up for you guys. The goal is to pass information because one of the world problems is misinformation, but also lack of education because there's not a lot of videos explaining this stuff. So if you have any questions about Pokemon cards, baseball cards, Funko Pops, or anything collectible, then please ask it in the chat and I'll get back to you. Why do people pay for those crazy silver coins limited to 888? Limited edition is important. It's just because they are literally limited. There's only 888 of those coins, or 600, whatever it may be, 777, 200, whatever the number is, that's how many there are in the world. If something has a number like that, it tickles people's fancy and people like to buy it because they know there's not going to be more of those made. That is why numbered cards are very important, or numbered collectibles. Any other questions? You guys could ask me about what I'm investing in. You guys can you can ask anything you want. The point of these streams are that I can educate you guys to the best of my ability live. We've had 20 people pop in. We have 6 likes on the stream. Thank you guys so much. If y'all are not subscribed, please do so you don't miss any more videos. This is my series, Ren on the Money, where I talk about all things finance, collecting, all things money in general. And I try to do it every single Tuesday. This is week 2 of doing it. I'm going to do it next week and the week after as well. Any thoughts on YouTube poured silver? Okay, so YouTube poured silver is a collectible. I need to explain this to everyone watching. So YouTube poured silver is a collectible where somebody made a handmade piece of silver, and it can, oh my gosh, my voice is like dying. I had choir before this, so it's kind of difficult. So poured silver is basically a handmade piece by somebody where they pour the silver and they make their own bars or coins or rounds that are made out of silver. These are not cards, so this is not related to cards or Funko Pops. Some people are willing to pay a high premium on these collectible pieces because of how much time that they take to make. The main value comes from time or design. If someone makes like a cool gun silver piece, someone who loves guns may buy it, right? This is still basic economic fact that people will buy what they like. So I think that when it comes to poured silver, the value is in the art. The value is not how limited it is, but it's in the artwork and the time that it actually took to make it. Hopefully that answers your question, Joseph Lopez. I also believe that poured silver is very much of a niche topic, so a lot of people are not buying YouTube poured silver. Because if someone just sees a bar and it says Silver Dragons on it, which is a YouTuber, then that bar doesn't really hold historic value to that person. So in this situation, I would 100% rather buy sports cards than a poured piece of silver from some random dude that is stamped on there. Any other questions about cards in general? I will go into how you can make a lot of money with these two. Is cards are pretty cheap when you buy them ungraded because they have this risk of not being perfect. But if you open a pack of cards and you pull a Pokemon card or a sports card, and it can be a perfect card, and it can get this PSA graded 10, it can be worth a lot more. Here's an example. This Shohei Ohtani rookie card, so this is a rookie from his first year. It's Shohei Ohtani. He is building a crazy legacy in baseball right now, if you don't know. This card goes for $20. It's not graded. If I sent this to PSA right now, and it got a 10, a PSA 10, which means it's perfect, this card would go for $150, turning my $20 investment into $150. Or maybe it would turn a $45 investment into $150 because it costs $25 to grade a card. I currently have some cards at PSA that I will be unboxing that in a PSA 10 can be worth $4,000. They are called Sylveon 2016 Radiant Collection. This card is super exclusive. It came out as a Pokemon anniversary card. These cards can literally go for $4,000, and I have two of them, and I sent them to PSA. So hopefully those get a high grade. When they come back, I will make an updated unboxing of those cards on my channel. As of right now, I have some speculative cards. I really believe that Sauce Gardner, with his cards, will go up. He's playing very well, and he is the highest paid cornerback in the NFL. He is the highest paid, which means his cards right now are going up in price over time. If he makes the Hall of Fame, which means his legacy was really good, this card will skyrocket. He is pretty young, so it's risky. I will say that there's two things I don't. Well, one main thing I don't like about sports cards, but it is a double-edged sword. Okay, sports cards are based on how somebody does with their career. If this person on this card sucks at the sport, their card drops in value and could eventually be worth nothing. Literally nothing if they suck. Pokemon cards are based on the artwork and how cool they are. See? So there's a difference. Sports cards, you're betting on a specific real person, a human being, to do well at their trade. And in Pokemon cards, you are betting on the Pokemon company to make good art and make good animes, like good TV shows. So you're betting on a whole different thing with these two different types of cards. Pokemon cards, you really are just betting on somebody's animation doing well and the hype of a specific character. And in sports cards, you are actually investing on a person doing well. So, sports cards, it does take a lot of research to make money because you need to know about the sport. You need to know what's going on in the sport. You need to know if this player is good or if they're hurt or if they suck. Because if a player is hurt in sports cards, guess what happens to their card? Goes down in value because they're not playing. If a player is having a bad year, guess what happens to their card? Goes down in value. If you have a player like Shohei Ohtani who is in the World Series and he's doing very, very well, guess what happens? The card goes up in value a lot. This is how you can make a lot of money. And I kind of feel like I'm rambling, but it's also important to know this. Like, actually important to know this. Joseph Lopez says, my neighbor found a 1958 wheat cent in MS-67 condition while hunting pennies. I told him you better submit this to NGC or PCGS because it would be worth huge dollars. Yeah, yes, that is absolutely true. Okay, I have one more thing I want to talk about. Failed collectibles. I was a humongous believer in Fortnite trading cards. These are amazing. They have all that you could look for in a collectible. They have rare, exclusive parallels and colors. As you can see, this one, it's really shiny in the background. The only time you can get this card is from a very specific box. So you have to buy a very specific limited run box to get this Royal Knight card. It's also authenticated, which means it's graded, and it is a PSA 9. The supply is very, very low. I happen to know that this card, there is only one of this card in the entire world, and I own it, and it is a Royal Knight from Fortnite. The company that made this card is Panini. Panini is a well-known company. Panini has been around for a long time. So all of these factors should mean that this card is worth a lot of money. How much do you guys bet that this card is actually worth? Give me a guess right now in the chat. How much do you think this card is worth with all the things I told you about it? Because it follows the checklist that I just gave you. The supply is low, and it's really rare, and it's not autographed, but it's very unique. There's only one of these in the world, well, one in this grade. What do you think this card is worth? Let me know right now in the chat. I'm going to reveal it in a minute. So just wait a minute to see what this card is worth. I have another card from Fortnite Trading Cards, Zoe. I bought this card because I love the skin in Fortnite. I love the skin in the game. I used to wear this skin all the time. It's a PSA 9 hollow foil. Hollow foil means it's shiny on the card, and it's not the base card. So it's not the most common version of her, but it's like not the most rare version. PSA 9. How much do you think this card is worth? I'm asking you guys so that you guys can kind of be involved with me. But I'm going to answer it real quick because y'all haven't chatted back. These cards are only worth $30. This card right here is worth $30. This card is worth $10. This would be a losing investment, like a really big losing investment. One, it costs $25 to send your card to PSA. And this card is only worth $30 in total. That is bad. That is almost a loss on investment immediately. I spent $25 to get this graded, and I actually spent like $15 on the card. So I lost $20. Why? Because of the demand. The demand is the issue with these cards. Nobody knows that Fortnite cards exist. Panini did a terrible job of marketing these cards. When they came out, these cards were not marketed. So even though they were rare, and even though they had everything, they did everything right to make money. Even though they did this, they came out as a flop. Panini failed because nobody knows about them. And the supply is actually higher than the demand. That means they have more cards just floating around than the people who actually want to buy them. Nobody wants to buy Fortnite cards because nobody cares about Fortnite cards. They should have been way more marketed. People don't care about Fortnite like they used to. Why do I have Fortnite cards? What is my stance on Fortnite cards? I believe in nostalgia, where people go back to memories, where people have a specific memory tied to something, right? Fortnite cards bring me back memories. I used to play Fortnite a lot when I was younger, and I still play Fortnite kind of. But back in 2017, 2018, 2019, those were the peak days of Fortnite, where the game was fresh. There wasn't so many updates on the game. There wasn't 1,000 different skins. There was just people who played Fortnite for fun. There wasn't a lot of no-life players who just destroy you when you play against them. I believe that in 10 years or 20 years, when all these little kids grow up who are my age and they have big boy money, like 20, when they all have a job and when they can all actually afford something, they will go back to these Fortnite cards and they will find them again. And I think they will find the love for Fortnite cards that they missed earlier on, if that makes sense. So these cards, in my opinion, this is a long-term play because I believe that Fortnite cards are undervalued right now. Yes, they have no demand. That's a bad thing. There are more Fortnite cards just on the market than that there are people who want to buy them. But you can't invest in something that everybody else is investing in all the time. Because some of my most profitable investments have been things that people look down on. Gold backs, for example. People didn't want to buy gold backs. People thought it was dumb and a gimmick. Well, I've made about 100% on gold backs. I've doubled my money. People didn't want to buy platinum. I was buying platinum when it was $900 per ounce. Guess how much platinum is right now? Platinum is $1,600 an ounce. Literally almost doubled my money on that. I was buying Dogecoin, which is a cryptocurrency, when it was less than a cent. Nobody liked it. Everyone says it was dumb, it was a scam. And yet, these have been my most profitable investments. Why? Because sometimes buying things that the world isn't chasing is important. Sometimes almost pioneering something is important. You still have to look at data, and you still have to know that whatever these small investments are can definitely fail, because Fortnite cards, as of right now, they are showing signs of dying, like literally dying. Like no one will buy these. These could be worthless, but I enjoy them. If they die, I still have the pictures of my favorite skins in Fortnite, and I still know how rare they are. So I can still enjoy them, even if they're not worth a lot of money. I would never go all in on Fortnite cards because I think that's a ridiculous idea, because so far in statistics and history, the cards started way up here and they're just going way down. But I think eventually these Fortnite cards are going to have a little bit of a pickup, right? Where you can make a bunch of money from them. If you haven't seen Fortnite cards, There are three variants. There's a base variant, which is not shiny. This is the hollow variant. It has a little bit of gleam, as you can see. And this is the cracked ice or crystal shard variant. This card is only in specific boxes. This card is 1 out of every 20 packs. And then the base variant is so common. Base Fortnite cards are worth nothing. They don't have any value because there are millions printed. So it's the value of them is bad. So what I'm saying, and if you have to take 1 point away from the live stream, I think you should look at collectibles as an asset, as a way to grow your value, to grow your wealth. I believe that with assets, you can swap them around sometimes. Sometimes I will have a very heavy or big stack of Pokemon cards or collectible cards, and I will sell them all to buy stocks, or I will sell them all to buy something else. But at the end of the day, all these assets that I enjoy, all of these cards that I buy for fun, they are worth something. And when I need my money, I can sell these cards. Like, I don't feel like, at least with this Sauce Gardner football card, I won't have a hard time selling this. I can get my $30 back out whenever I want. This Jackie Robinson card, I can sell this whenever I want. The money doesn't just go down the drain. The cards aren't really decreasing in value. Like, whenever I go and buy Jordans or like those Nike shoes, the second I wear them, they lose half of their value. But these cards, they don't lose half of their value immediately. They hold their value, and a lot of the time, they actually grow in value. If you have something that holds its value and goes up, I would say that's an asset. I have this Funko Pop. It's signed by Squints and Wendy Peppercorn. I believe that if these actors die, like if the real human actors die for them, this Funko Pop is going to go through the roof. It's going to go up because you can't get them to sign it anymore. We got 6 people watching. And there's this whole thing that if you sell sports cards or if you sell collectibles, that you are a scammer or that you are taking advantage of people. I don't believe that at all because, quite frankly, without stores that are selling you these cards, regular everyday collectors like you or me who just collect for fun, they can't get cards. They can't get these collectibles into their collection. So there is a balance, there needs to be a balance of collectors and investors. The investors kind of keep collectibles living. If you don't have investors, you don't have anyone to sell. Like, no one's selling. If you don't have collectors who just enjoy it for the hobby or enjoy it for the artwork, then you don't have anyone who buys. That is why I don't have any shame that I'm a seller of sports cards. I don't care that I'm selling. People are buying them because they enjoy them. I buy sports cards. I buy these cards because I enjoy them. Nothing else. Nobody can say that I'm scamming people because I'm selling the cards. If you don't want to pay as much for a card, like if you don't want to pay $50 for a sports card, then don't do it. By all means, you don't have to buy that card. You don't have to spend $50 if you don't want to. All of these buys that you see in the card market, like a TTO2, Hannes Wagner, or a Mickey Mantle card going for $10 million, that person didn't have to spend $10 million on a card. That was their choice. They didn't have to. Like, no one is obligated to do this, right? So if someone tells you that you are a scumbag because you're selling cards, base up, like, come on, just grow up. There is room for sellers and buyers. And in sports cards, you get a lot of hate for the sellers. And sometimes you get a lot of hate for the buyers just because they don't give a crap about money. It's, like, there is a far right and a far left of collecting. Some people don't give one crap about the value of their cards and they just buy what they want because they love it. Some people go to the store and they grab hundreds of boxes of cards off the shelf and they sell them for more money than they bought them for. I believe that being in the middle is more important. Being on this side of collectibles is being a scalper. It means scamming people and being a dirtbag. Some people are very greedy in collecting. And on this side, there's nothing wrong with this side, I feel like, because all they're doing is just living their life and buying it. I feel like to some degree that collectibles can become scamming. It definitely can. Like, but if you see that, if you see someone selling a card that is only worth $1 and you see them selling it for $100, guess what? If you bought the card, that's your fault because you bought the card. If you bought a card for way overpriced, guess what? That's lack of education. If you didn't know the value of the card, that's your fault. If you sell a card to someone for less than it's worth and you thought it was worth $5 and it was worth 50, that's your fault. You had a lack of education. I think in all places there is this lack of education, but I definitely believe that you should be able to participate in either side that you want. I am getting more into the side of financial for my sports cards. I really want to start selling cards. I want to start a business of this because it's something I'm passionate about. Sports cards are something I'm passionate about. So I know the ins and outs of collecting, and I feel like it's time for me to start being a seller so that if I'm a seller, people can buy from me and get what they need, but I'm also benefiting economically. I hope that I sound um like I know what I'm doing, and I hope that I hope that these lessons can help you guys out as well. So I think that's going to wrap up the stream because I've covered everything I need. Thank you guys so much for being here. I'm gonna be here next Tuesday if you want to watch me. Hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, do all those good things. And if you want to see more collectible content, let me know because this was kind of me just testing the waters of collectibles. But I have a lot more to say about them. So if y'all want to see more of that kind of stuff, let me know. And I'll see you guys all in the next stream. Thank you so much for being here. I love y'all.